great players. They have a great organization. And you tell them one thing.
What is good, Raider Nation? It's your boy Raider Alex back with yet another video for you guys. Anybody that's new to the channel, you guys love Raider related content just like this, make sure to like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Also make sure to hit that bell notification, that way you get notified every time I post a video just like this one. Without further ado, let's jump right into the topic of this video. The Las Vegas Raiders are going into an absolute crucial matchup in week 4 against a divisional rival in the Los Angeles Chargers. Both teams come into the season at a 1-2 record, and the Raiders specifically are in a crucial moment just given everything that's happened throughout the last 2 weeks with this team. From a morale standpoint, I think the Chargers are in a better position than we are currently as a ball club, because the Chargers were able to claw their way into a dramatic win last week against the Minnesota Vikings on the road. Their defense made a clutch play to seal the victory for them, even after their head coach made a very head-scratching move to go for it on 4th down, backed up at their own 20-yard line. But the Chargers rallied back and got a potential season-saving victory, it feels like, for them. And you just compare this with the Raiders, where we're currently at, and it's just a complete opposite from a morale standpoint. Our head coach, Josh McDaniels, also made a very head-scratching move when he elected to kick a field goal instead of being aggressive and trying to go for a touchdown. And unfortunately, that decision backfired on him, as his defense was not able to get a 3-and-out, and we got the ball back with 13 seconds left, backed up, and essentially 0 chances to win the game at that point. So look, the team morale seems to be reeling right now for the Las Vegas Raiders, and one could make the argument that this is the biggest game of the Josh McDaniels era, and if he can't win, the fate of our season could be essentially sealed at this point. If the Raiders go 1-3 after this game, the statistical probabilities of this team making the playoffs just drastically drops off, and most importantly, the team is already reeling, and a vast majority of the fan base has serious doubts about the direction of this franchise is headed in with Josh McDaniels at the helm. It's just going to be a nightmare if we lose this game and fall to 1-3. But if the Raiders can win this game, then we really aren't in such a bad spot. After all, we'd be 2-2 through 4 games, and most importantly, we'd be 2-0 in our division. Now, getting into the specifics of what I think the Raiders need to do tomorrow, really, I think the Raiders have to look at themselves in the mirror first off and find a way to improve on the things that we've been lacking on, and just also find a way not to shoot ourselves in the foot, and ultimately just improve as a team and improve in key areas in this offense, especially when it comes to running the ball, just the overall play design from Josh McDaniels, limiting turnovers, and also being a disciplined football team out there. Also, this game will be another big test for this defense, in my opinion. Look, last week against the Steelers, they did overall okay, even though they still dropped a clear pick 6 from Marcus Peters, and they gave up a 70-yard blown coverage touchdown, which was on Marcus Peters as well, which really shifted the momentum for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But look, the Los Angeles Chargers offense will be a tougher matchup than what the Steelers provided, and really the 2 games where the Raiders defense looked decent in were versus the Broncos week 1 and versus the Steelers last week, and both of those teams have very limited offenses compared to the Chargers. Now look, the Chargers have a lot of firepower on the offensive side of the football, and this will be a big test for the secondary. Now, from an injury standpoint in this game, the Chargers are missing some key players. They're missing their star safety, Derwin James. Wide receiver Mike Williams is going to be out. Also, their star running back Austin Eckler is questionable. So look, this could really help the Raiders out when it comes to the injury standpoint. And the Raiders, from the injury report, the biggest question mark is our quarterback. Jimmy Garoppolo is listed as questionable, and we expect to get confirmation on whether or not he will play sometime later today, but so far nothing has come out. Also, star defensive end Max Crosby is listed as questionable, and also slot cornerback Nate Hobbs as well. Max Crosby has never missed a game for the Silver and Black, and I don't expect him to do so this week unless it's really something serious, but I fully expect him and Nate Hobbs to suit up. So really the biggest question mark is Jimmy Garoppolo. Can he go or not? Because from everything I have heard, if Jimmy Garoppolo will not play tomorrow, then McDaniels will turn to veteran quarterback Brian Hoyer as a starting quarterback and not rookie quarterback Aiden O'Connell. And in that scenario, I think the Raiders are losing this game 100%. But I also fully expect Jimmy Garoppolo to suit up for tomorrow, and this will be a huge game for him as well, as he has to bounce back from his performances and limit the turnovers. Also, he's got to find a way to be more aggressive, throwing it down the football field. And also get some other wide receivers involved, because watching the film, he's really only been targeting Davante Adams and Jacoby Myers. And even in certain plays where a guy like Hunter Renfrow has been getting open, so he has to find a way to get other people involved as well. Trust these other wide receivers, and he's going to have to hit the Chargers deep. That way you make them pay if they're going to put 8 people in the box to try to stop Josh Jacobs. But the keys to victory for me in this game will be relatively the same as previous weeks, and it starts with the run game. The Raiders' run game has been terrible the last 3 weeks. I mean, last week it got a little bit better, but still not where we need to be. The Raiders at the bare minimum need to rush for, I say, 70 to 80 yards, because we cannot continue to rely on Jimmy Garoppolo throwing it over 40 times for us to win. He's not that type of quarterback. Also, this is going to be a game where I don't think it's going to be our best advantage to get into a shootout with the Chargers. So the time of possession battle will be crucial, and you have to be able to run the ball to do that. Another key to victory as well is we have to limit turnovers. Jimmy Garoppolo cannot afford to keep throwing 2-3 interceptions. And the Raiders too, the offense is going to have to find a way to score more than 20 points, which is something we haven't done all season. I don't think this defense is going to be able to hold the Chargers to like 17 points or anything like that. So the key, we're going to have to score over 20 points. And if there was ever a time for Josh McDaniels to get deep into his playbook and switch things up and try different things, it's right now, because the film is out there for all opposing NFL defenses when it comes to stopping the Las Vegas Raiders offense. And Josh McDaniels has to combat this. He has to make adjustments, or else the same thing's going to happen on the offensive side of the football. And the last key for me is this defense as well. The Raiders defense throughout the last however many years has been so inconsistent. I mean, 1 week they're solid, and then the next week they get 40 points put up on them. So I'm not really 100% sold on this defense. I really hope that's not the case though. I hope we don't get torched on the defensive side of the football. I hope we can ultimately contain this Chargers offense, and I think we're going to have to hold them to 20 points or less to be able to win this game. And for the Raiders to be able to do this, the Raiders defensive line will have to come alive, and ideally we will have to get our first turnover of the season. I think this defense, the secondary, I think they can hold their own, but they're not going to look good if the defensive line can't create any pressure up front. When we get the chance to get an interception too, we have to come up with those catches. We have to come up with those balls. So needless to say, there's a lot on the line for the Las Vegas Raiders tomorrow. And for head coach Josh McDaniels, he really has to come out and show us that he has the ability to switch things up on his offense. And ultimately, this team in general, coming off of 2 bad losses, they're going to have to show some fight and show that they have not given up on this season thus far. And they're going to have to get a huge win over a divisional rival. And when it comes to like a score prediction, look, unless something changes when it comes to the news of the quarterback situation, as long as Brian Hoyer isn't the starter tomorrow, I think the Raiders will somehow, some way find a way to rally back from these past 2 weeks and sneak out of SoFi Stadium with a 24-21 victory and go 2-2 in the regular season, and most importantly 2-0 in the division. I really hope this team does not disappoint too. It's going to be in Los Angeles, which technically is a road game, but you know that stadium is going to be packed with silver and black fans. So I hope we can get a win for our fans out there in Los Angeles. But Raider Nation, those are my takeaways for tomorrow's game. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Do you guys think the Raiders are going to win this game? With that being said though, that's all I have for you guys in today's video. Anybody that's new, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. That being said, I will see you guys in the next one.